Good morning, students. In the last session, we have talked about the syllabus in life skills, and I gave you an introduction to life skills. And we had an earlier session before life skills in which effective communication was talked about. I hope you could refer to those notes which I had given through PDF and through other Google links. I hope you have gone through the notes for Introduction to Life Skills and Effective Communication already. And we also spoke about the syllabus in Module 1 for life skills. I said that we will be talking about self-awareness, empathy, critical thinking, creative thinking, decision making, problem solving, interpersonal relationship, emotional quotient, and self-awareness, which are the elements of life skills. Today we are going to talk about these elements. Let us start from self-awareness. Let me start with the quotation from Billie Jean King. You know who Billie Jean King is? She was a tennis player. She had won 39 Grand Slam titles, 12 singles, 16 women doubles, 11 mixed doubles. She said that, open quotation, I think self-awareness is probably the most important thing towards being a champion. She was a champion in tennis. She could become aware of herself, and this way she became a champion. How do you become aware of yourself? Self-awareness is the key to self-mastery. You master yourself. You find the power to choose what is correct, what is wrong, which is the right path, which is the right choice for you. Which profession should I be taking? Which career should I be choosing? How should I respond to certain things? How can I change things for myself as well as for others? So, knowing yourself is the beginning of self-wisdom. This is the concept of self-awareness. Self-awareness allows you to stand apart from yourself and think for yourself, examining your thoughts, your motives, your actions, your habits, your tendencies. It can help you to find out who you are. It also proposes that you never sacrifice anything for others just because someone else has a problem with it. You project yourself. You succeed in life when you're projecting yourself through true wisdom. It is not the negativity that should be projected. You should find out the positivity in you. Then you can give your best to others. For then you are in touch with the best in yourself. The first and most important thing here is to believe in yourself. For this, you have to become aware of your behavior, how you're reacting to things, how you're behaving with other persons, how you're responding to certain things. So to know yourself, you have to be interacting with the other person. You have to be your authentic self. In this way, there is no competition. You're competing with yourself. So self-awareness is accepting your shortcomings. When you accept your shortcoming, when you understand that there is a limit to your actions, or there is a limit to your ambitions, there is a limit to your desires in achieving something. In this way, you understand that this is your shortcoming. This understanding of your shortcoming makes you realize that this is your strength. That way, you're accumulating your strength. You know how far strong you can go with such and such a decision. For example, if you're appearing for an exam, you know how many hours you have got to sleep. It depends from person to person. Some people might be studying. If you have your exams tomorrow, you might be studying for the whole day and the whole night. For some people, it wouldn't be sufficient to sleep for just 2 or 3 hours. They will have to sleep for more than 6 hours. Otherwise, during the exams, they might get dizzy and they might faint. So such people, such students, they need to study a little only for the exams during the previous day. They might have prepared earlier and they need to sleep a lot. So it depends from person to person. That is, this method is called understanding your shortcomings and accumulating strengths. So your shortcoming becomes the other person's strength and your strength becomes the other person's shortcomings. This is the way competition works. So we can say that you're competing with yourself. So self-awareness is the ability to focus on yourself, your actions, your thoughts, your emotions. And you're putting an internal standard for yourself. You're aligning a standard for yourself. In this way, you become highly self-aware. You can objectively evaluate yourself. You can manage your emotions, your behavior, your values, and understand correctly how others perceive you. Hence, you need to practice self-awareness. So it becomes a critical tool, an instrument to reach higher levels of your studies, your job satisfaction, to become better team leaders, to improve your relationship with your friends, your colleagues, and to manage your emotions. It is also positively correlated with your happiness because you are expressing your better self. That way you become happy. When you focus on yourself rather than the environment, you are comparing yourself with the standards of correctness you have put forth within you. The correctness means the internal standards. You know what is right, what is wrong. You take the right things and you select them. You discard the wrong ones. These standards of correctness specify how you ought to think, you feel and behave. So these become essentially your values, your beliefs, otherwise known as ideals. Ideals are very much necessary when you enter a community. Now you have become a part of a college community. Now, till now you have been under the umbrella, under the protection of your parents. Now you have become individuals and you are coming outside your protected world, outside the cocoon of your family. You have become individuals. You have become past 18. So you have to put forth certain ideals. You have to think for yourself, behave and communicate with others. Take ownership for your feelings. Take ownership for what you are saying. Take ownership for your actions, your interactions. So in that way you are feeling pride and you might find dissatisfaction depending on how your behavior, whether your behavior is matching up to the standard of correctness you have set for yourself. And if you find some dissatisfaction, you have to change your behavior to align, to suit to the standards of the community, of what is accepted, the accepted norm of the society, the accepted norm which is prevalent in the society. So how do you develop and improve self-awareness? We understand now that self-awareness is a fundamental tool for self-control. What the society dictates, what is acceptable by the society, this is what is demanding of us to behave. So how do we develop and improve self-awareness? There are dozens and dozens of ways to improve and cultivate self-awareness. One particular method is always ask what instead of why. When people ask, why am I feeling sad? Why did my teacher not recognize my project? Why did I get a bad feedback? Why are my results poor? Why isn't my project going the way I had hoped? It is better to ask what instead of why, because why becomes ineffective here. Ineffective means it doesn't work for you. Many researchers have shown that you don't have to access to a lot of your unconscious thoughts and feelings and motives. For example, you might, There can be many reasons for your failure for the particular day. That doesn't mean that you are a total failure. For the if I take an example from the college arena, if your exams for the particular day or your test series for the particular day has gone wrong, that doesn't mean the semester has failed you or you are a loser in that sense. Maybe during the particular day, you had gone to a sad mood for some other reason. The physiological responses might have affected you. So you just ask yourself, what went wrong? What questions are more productive? And it focuses on objectives rather than being subjective. So what happens when you ask what? What went wrong means what was the situation that made me do such and such a thing? What was the situation that made me go wrong for these answers? I should have read more, I should have studied more, or why am I feeling awful? That is not the question you should ask yourself. That will make you feel more sad and forcing you to ruminate on negatives. Instead of that, just ask yourself, what are the situations at work, what are the situations at hand that's making me feel bad? It will take you to a situation, to understand about a situation, to assess that situation, and help you strategize how to fix that situation. For example, if you have not given a project within time, you should ask yourself, what went wrong? Then you would understand that you have not correctly observed the time management, you have not taken the ideas behind it properly, you are not concrete in your ideas, or your teamwork was not good enough, there was no proper communication between your team members, or there might be many typing errors, or the coordination of the work was not proper, the project was not presented properly, you have not rationalized the ideas properly. These are the answers which what question will give you. Another is practice mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a basic human quality. It is an ability to be fully present. It is the ability to be aware of where we are and what we are doing. It suggests the mind is fully attending to what's happening, to the space you are moving through. We often distract away from the matter at hand, and the mind takes flight, and pretty soon we are obsessed in some other thought. If mindfulness is there, that is the concentration, the focus is there, it will snap us back into action, where we are and what we are doing and feeling. Another thing for developing self-awareness, listen to others, listen for your feedback, become a very good listener. When you learn how to listen to your friends and colleagues and your teachers or managers, if you're working, without evaluating or judging them, you become more empathetic, you understand them better. Listening becomes, it's just like hearing, like mindfulness. The practice of listening will take purpose, and just listen to the important people in your life, your friends, take their ideas, discard the bad ideas. This gives a true sense of how they perceive you also. You can translate these listening skills to yourself and become better at understanding your thoughts and emotions. Listening to others and yourself is critical to becoming self-aware. This is all about self-awareness. Now I am moving on to the next topic of empathy. I told you in the module, empathy is another element of life skill. I'll be giving you two or three or maybe 3 or 4 topics in each segment of this 1.5 session, and you can listen to each of them, and you can read through the notes, and you can study as well. I'll be giving a few questions towards the end of towards the end of the PDF, and you will be able to answer the module. You can refer to other books also. I told you about the reference books in the earlier session. This is the third, I think, this is the third session I'm having with you. Now let us move on to empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is the ability to share another person's feelings and emotions as if they were your own. It is the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and experience the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another. So, how does empathy differ from sympathy? We always confuse empathy and sympathy. They are different from each other. The thread of separation between these words is very important for you to understand the definition of empathy and sympathy. If empathy is a term we use for the ability to understand other people's feelings as if we were having them ourselves, it is an understanding and sharing process. We share the experiences of the other person. We understand the feeling and emotion of another person. By projecting one's personality into another person, you step into that person's shoes and more fully understand that person. Empathy allows you to imagine what it is like to be him or her. In differentiation, sympathy refers to the ability to take part in someone else's feelings. You sympathize with that person. You just become sorrowful for that person. You feel sorry for that person's misfortune. For example, we have sympathy cards given to bereaving families. In Western countries, we issue a sympathy card to families who are grieving someone. The word pathos, it is a Greek word. This word, sympathy and empathy, was derived from pathos. It means feelings, emotions, suffering, etc. Pathos, pathy means sharing. So in the earlier centuries, we had only sympathy, but during the modern century, the word has achieved greater dimensions, and empathy is more used nowadays. Empathy is a key element of emotional intelligence. It is the link between self and others. You just feel connected to the other person by empathizing with that person. You have empathy for not only a person, you empathize with the political agenda, with the other person's principles. You empathize with the principles of certain groups. If there is a charity group, you empathize with the principles of that charity group. That is what is called empathy. And you give charity, you work for them, you work along with them, you move among the community groups according to those principles, those community groups in which that charity group is working. This is called empathy. So empathy goes far beyond sympathy. Empathy instead is, unlike sympathy, it is feeling with that person through your use of imagination. So we understand that empathy is basically the ability to understand others' emotions. At a deeper level, it is about defining, understanding, and reacting to the concerns and needs that underlie others' emotional response and reactions. It is a skill that needs to be developed in the modern ages, as with most interpersonal skills. Empathizing at some level comes naturally to most people. It is there, it is latent in the human being's psyche. So it needs just a tuning up, a sharpening to become better citizens. What are the elements of empathy? I am talking about 5 elements here. The first one is understanding others. How do you understand others? You sense others' feelings and perspectives and take an active interest in their concerns. You tune into their emotional cues. They listen You listen to them, you pay attention to the non-verbal communication, you look into their eyes, you look into their facial expressions, the use of their hands, you understand what are their feelings. You try to understand if that person is not vocal about his communication, you try to understand from the through non-verbal communication what the other person is intending to convey to you. Whether it is I said it is a principle or a dogma or an idea or a feeling that is being conveyed to you. You try to you should empathize with that person by understanding it through non-verbal communication. Show sensitivity and understand the other person's perspective. If the other person belongs to another religion or another politics, why does he take such a stand in such and such matters? You try to empathize with his ideas, with his perspectives, recognize it, accept it, and that makes you understand the difference. There is an acceptance of that difference. There comes a friendship in that difference. You are able to help other people based on their understanding, their needs, and their feelings. What is the second one in empathy? Second element, developing others. How do you develop others? If you're developing yourself, you can develop others also. That is, you're acting on their needs and concerns and helping them to develop to their full potential. How do you do that? You reward and praise them for their strengths. Their strengths and their accomplishments are being recognized by you when you praise them. And you can also provide constructive feedback for them to improve. If you feel that they are losing out on some points, you can give them some suggestions. If you are studying with your friends, if you are doing it in a combined manner, if you are doing combined study, you might understand there are levels of studying by each, and if there are 4 or 5 members in that group, in a combined study group, there will be different types of levels. You help out the other person where he is missing out, where he is not able to memorize certain things. You come out with certain easier methods for him or her to memorize it, some techniques, some tricks. This is the way of constructive helping out to improve the other person, developing others, provide mentoring and coaching to help others to develop to their full potential. If your friend is not feeling good today, just give a good mentoring, just bring out the good mood, make the other person happy, bring out with ideas, just go to the canteen or just go to, just enjoy yourself with certain jokes. So that the other person becomes, this is a sort of mentoring, just not the direct method. You are making the other person happy by mentoring, though the other person is not understanding that it is the mentoring process that's being taking place here. Provide assignments that will help. What are the other methods? On an official note, developing others is by giving assignments that will help the other team to develop. The assignments will make the other person come out with ideas, their talents, and project themselves. If you're working in an office or in a company, having a service orientation means putting the needs of customers first. If you're working in a company, you need to be so service oriented. You know what the customer needs. You will have to go the extra mile. Extra mile means going beyond what is needed of you. Reach out the customers, ask them their needs, understand their needs, and help them to meet their needs. This way, you're helping your company itself by selling your product to more and more customers. Another method of extending empathy is the leveraging diversity. What is leveraging diversity? Let me put it this way. By leveraging diversity, we mean if you're working in a company, there will be different types of members in that company. They will be having different types of talents. It is very much challenging for the company manager to bring out the talents of each and every person in a single work. So what do? You try to understand that person. You try to understand the talent of that person, and you try to bring out the talent of each person by giving different assignments. This is called leveraging diversity. That is, it maximizes the talent of each person to achieve the vision and mission of the organization. That is what is called leveraging diversity. That is being able to create and develop opportunities through different kinds of people, recognizing and celebrating that we all bring something different to the company. I hope I will end this first segment of the session here, and we'll move on to the session within a few minutes.